This is Ryan Abraham and Dan Weber, USCFootball.com Instant Analysis, here on Cromwell Field, practice number 7, getting ready for Nebraska on December 27th. Dan, they got a couple days off, finishing up finals and all that kind of stuff. Steve Sarkisian, though, wasn't all that happy with the way practice went.
I think it's the new Steve. To be honest, this was not, compared to, I think some of the game prep practices toward the end of the season, this really wasn't that bad a practice. But I kind of like the fact that he's given him, I think he finished up with, you can take vacations December 28th to January 11th, but not here. I really don't think it was as bad as he said it was, but it's probably good that he said it wasn't up to standards and wasn't good enough to, win the Holiday Bowl and all of that. I think that's a good way to coach.
And it was a little different just because today was the first day they actually had the black jerseys on. They were doing scout team stuff, really preparing for Nebraska. So I guess a little bit more like an in-season practice, where the other 6 practices were more kind of like a fall camp.
Exactly. And so, that's the where you show, the genius of coaching is blending that, go, fundamentals, competing and all of that with the installation of what are you going to do for, Nebraska. And you've got to, try to do that. But you want to maintain that tempo, and you want to maintain that pace of practice and that, kind of speed of doing things. I thought they worked really hard at doing that, but I think it's a good message to say this is not good enough. We got to do better.
The big news, I guess, coming out of practice, Steve Sarkisian did say that Antwaun Woods is going to miss the bowl game. He had pectoral surgery, left pectoral surgery yesterday. He was out here in a sling, but big news that he's not going to be able to play in this bowl game.
Yeah, and I think the one real piece of news, because Antwaun was telling people what happened almost. I think he was texting people as he went into the surgery yesterday, and probably took a picture right afterwards. That he's going to be in a sling for 6 weeks. So that was a real serious. I was probably 7 or 8 feet away when it happened, and I didn't think there was any doubt that it was serious. Basically, this is what happens when you're big and strong as Antwaun is, and he's beating a double team. They were really working on a double 2-on-1, and he just literally tried to slam his way through, and I think, he ends up tearing his own pec because he's just pushing so hard, and he's got, his big arms and head leverage, but and I don't even know who the 2 guys were, but he really got popped hard by the 2 offensive linemen, and you could tell, I don't care what, he said he heard it pop. It was immediate that this was not going to be one of those, you were hoping maybe just a little bit of a tear. No, it was pretty obvious that was going to be a serious injury.
Maybe you can talk about his backup too, Cody Temple, and some of the other injuries on this team with Stephen Mitchell and Kevon Seymour.
Yeah, it seemed more like a middle of the season practice when they got down into the 40s with scholarship numbers for some games. Cody Temple here, this is his day maybe to have a big chance, and we had noticed on Sunday he was spending some time talking to the doctors after practice. Well, it turns out he's got a back issue, and he got out here late, probably doing rehab, and then he was doing a lot of back stretching and whatever with trainer Russ Romano. I don't think they're writing him off at all, but today they were going with with Leonard and Dalvon Simmons and Claude Pilon in there, and then a lot of nickel where they don't run a nose, but I think they feel like we're okay, and Leonard could play in there if they have to. So Kevon Seymour came back. You wouldn't have known that he rolled his ankle. He looked great. I thought he looked as good as he has all year. Jenny Harris still, we're not sure if it was a groin pull or hamstring, but he was pretty much on the sidelines. And we're thinking about Stephen Mitchell because he left the last time we saw him with ice on his knee. But he missed today, according to Steve, because of studying for an exam. But I did ask Steve, well, how is he? He said, well, I haven't seen him yet, so I don't know what that's telling us.
We'll have to see. Getting the injury updates here. A couple injuries, got guys nicked up, but it looks like relatively healthy heading into the bowl game. Steve Sarkisian, though, did have some really interesting to say about Nebraska's running back and quarterback. Some really high praise there.
Yeah, I mean, Abdullah is the best running back they've seen all year, and you can't argue with that. I mean, he's number 2 in the country, I guess, to Melvin Gordon, and then but the other part of that is that the quarterback Armstrong he said is, the best running quarterback they've seen. Well, they've seen some guys that can run the ball, and he said, the way they attack you is different from anybody else they've played all year, with both of those guys very often on the same play, kind of giving you that look like they're just coming at you with fly sweeps, and they do it at tempo. So not a lot of similarity to anybody else USC's played, which is kind of be an interesting challenge for this defense. So yeah, Sark seems genuinely and properly concerned about the Nebraska offense.
All right, well, it's going to wrap it up here from Cromwell Field. USC still getting ready for Nebraska, December 27th, down in San Diego for the Holiday Bowl. For Dan Weber, this is Ryan Abraham. Check out uscfootball.com for more.